What's up, everyone? Welcome into my garage. This is roughly 32 feet wide by 24 and a half feet deep. It actually was a little bit deeper, but we put this wall in so I could have my big ProSlat cabinet array. And I just got something new. This is something I've been talking about for years. And I never get Christmas presents because Christmas comes like every day for me. So Michelle conspired with some of my friends, with my friend Rusty, and I guess they were talking about Ryan's Sur-Ron bicycle, you know, the e-bike that we were getting, and Rusty's our resident expert on that. And so I guess they got to talking, and he said, I don't know, but he's been talking about this Park Tool bike tool set for years. The Master Collection, so there's the Master Collection and the Base Master Collection from Park Tool. It's sort of been my inspiration for what I think a master collection of, automotive or house tools should look like. And so they've been my muse for this for years. Now, my wager is that they have this on the site and nobody buys it, or very few people buy it. This is the Base Master Collection, and this is like what you would buy if you were like a high volume shop. Like, I don't even think most shops would buy this to start, but I got it. So Michelle got it for me for Christmas, and we don't really get Christmas presents for each other anymore, and so it was a shock, and I was really pumped about it. And so I unboxed it over the course of several days. I just so happened to get my Bronco at the same day, so it was a bit overwhelming. And so what I want to do here today is sort of take you through what the set looks like. And I figured I'd introduce you to my bikes. I'm like 50% in on bikes. I'm 100% in on detailing. I'm 100% in on garage design. I'm 100% in on tools, lighting, flooring, all that kind of stuff. I'm like 50 to 60% in on bikes, and I think I'll pursue my way to, being maybe 60, 75% in. I've been thinking about going to the United Bike Institute and going and doing their 2-week, mechanics course. It'd be really nice to know how to do everything. I could do enough to be dangerous on a bike, but when it comes to, if I did a frame up build, I don't know everything. I don't know how to do everything, and I'm sure I could just take it one step at a time. But now I have the tools in order to do all that. So when you're talking about the base versus the master, the base collection doesn't have the straightening tools, like the really extensive frame straightening and adjusting and aligning. And so this is what they call the Base Master Collection. There's some redundancy here, some things I'm probably not going to need. Like, for example, the wrench set from Park Tool is not in the same class as like Stahlwelle, my fancy wrenches that I have from Germany. Even the screwdrivers and stuff are not going to make the cut over Wera. But what I'm planning to do with this full collection, this is going to go to my house in the mountains up in Helen, the Destination OG house, and we have this. I think it's roughly 8 feet wide by 18 feet long. So I'm going to build a bike, maintenance room with some Sonic cabinets, and then I'm going to take this entire collection there, and then I'm going to keep the things here that I need. And so I'm going to keep probably 70%, 60% of this master collection here at my house, so that way I can start working on bikes and do maintenance. And what I'm probably going to do is just buy a frame and then buy all the components and do a frame up build and do it here in the garage, and I'll probably video it for you as well, so all you bike nerds can yell at how much I suck. But I'm on a real streak with sucking. I did a Ubiquiti network video, which gets all the IT nerds mad. I did a Bronco build with my friends at APG, Automotive Performance Group, out in California. That got all the four-wheel people mad. And then I did a desk video, which gets all the desk nerds mad. And so I'm just going to keep imposing my will on all these other places that aren't my stay in your lane. Well, I wasn't allowed in the detailing lane either, so I wasn't allowed in the garage lane, but I don't give a crap. I'm going to keep doing it. So I just do what I like doing, and I'm going to continue to share that with you. So if we start, what I did, so my process for this was to first just open it up, unbox it, take everything out of the box, put it on the counter just to look at it, just to touch it. Read the description. Almost all of these will have, they have like a label on it, rotor truing gauge. And so my process was to open everything up, kind of put it in position, stick it on the countertop, touch it, feel it, see what it is, look at it, and figure out what do I actually know, what do I not. And so then I went through each box. There were, I think, 6 boxes. So each box had had like a tick sheet or a content sheet. So I went through and just inventoried and made sure everything was here. And that was another opportunity for me to, I looked at the SKU, and then what I would do is I'd look at the SKU, I'd pull up the Park Tool site, and then I would just put the SKU in the Park Tool site. Like if I didn't know what the vise tool was here or the vise jaws, I'm like, I don't know what the heck this is. And so I'd find it. Okay, I have the AV5. Check it off the list. See what the picture is. At least figure out what the name of the product was. Then what I did last night, after I inventoried everything, I took the Park Tool Master Collection sheet. So if you go to Base Master Collection, there's a little hyperlink. Click the hyperlink, and then it pulls up their entire kit spreadsheet. And so there's a PDF that has X's on each of their different collections. And so there's the Master Collection and the Base Master Collection. So I went through and double checked all of that, and I highlighted all the things that I knew. I know what a screwdriver is. I know what a ring tool is. But I wasn't sure what all these bottom bracket tools, which ones are which. I wasn't sure what a spoke alignment tool was. And I had a sense that this would be for cutting handlebars and cutting seat tubes and stuff like that. And so I was able to just kind of go through. I started last night. I finished this morning, going through the roughly 300 different items, and then checking on the site. Almost all of these tools have a video. So you kind of scroll down, figure out, most of these bottom brackets, some of these are for like Campagnolo and some Race Face and some other brands that I'm probably never going to have. I'm generally going to have Shimano and SRAM. So I'm going to have Dura Ace, Ultegra, SRAM, SRAM Red. So I'm going to have primarily that stuff. So here at the house, I probably won't keep all of this stuff here. So some of the more specific stuff, I'm going to take this entire set. Like I'm not going to keep these sockets here. They're not in the same class as my Koken stuff that I already have. So I don't need that kind of redundancy. But in Helen, I'm going to have the dedicated bike room. So I'm going to take the dedicated bike room and just do the whole entire master collection. It'd be kind of fun. I'm certain there are other brands that do better in other, maybe there's that company that makes all the green stuff out of France. I forget what the name is, but they may have a better, chain tool. They may have a better scale, or, obviously, these Park tools are not nearly as good as the 8 tool, Japanese hex keys that I already have. And so the brake kit, SRAM might make a better brake kit for the SRAM brakes. So there's certainly going to be one-off tools that are better than the Park tool, but this is the most complete system that exists. And so this reminds me a lot of when I did Sonic. Let me just start with a complete system that's already been vetted and put together, and then I can mix and match from there. You have to start somewhere. Like I said, I'm like 50% into this. And to get to 100%, it takes a lifetime, and I enjoy this process. So then I went through each, and just kind of figured out, okay, how does a frame alignment indicator, work? How do you use this? And I can't even remember. There's too many things. Or like bottom bracket bearing presses. So here's your, wheel alignment gauge where you would mount this and make sure that all of your spokes are aligned, or all your spokes are tensioned properly. so that way you'd flip it from either side of the wheel to make sure that your hub is centered in the right location. And so I don't know how often I'm going to need to get into that kind of stuff, but I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna play with it and test it. Stuff like this, this thing really intrigues me as a wheel tool, so I can put this in the jaws of my. I'm gonna put a vise over here, put this in the jaws of the vise, and then you can kind of position your wheel in different spots to figure out what works best. Or to make it so that you can work on your wheel at the best angle. So this collection, I think it's like $7,300. So that's a lot of money. But in comparison, I mean, this one drawer right here, I think is like $10,000 or $11,000 worth of tools. And so it depends on the type of tool. But I mean, I think that the Park Tool system is a pretty decent value. I'm getting lubricants. I'm getting like, even I never thought about having something like this when you're trying to get your tire seated and mounted. They make a specific tool that they basically just take a pair of inexpensive channel locks and just weld their own little device on here put a little grip tape on there. So a lot of specialty stuff like this here is a specialty triple tool, the EWS1 for the electronic shifter stuff. So even for taking out the battery, they thought to put a little battery removal fork on here to be able to take the battery out. And so having all these little tools. First thing you got to do is figure out what they are, so you even have it, how to use it, and then I think over time, because bikes are so different than cars, but even having a specialty, pedal wrench, for adding and for removing pedals, on bikes. So this one won't work on this bike because it's a hex, hex type. And so having all these tools, to me, the fun part is organizing it, and then like somewhere far down the line, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh thing is actually using it. I like having this stuff. So what my plan is, like I said, I'm going to go back and resort all of this. The hammers will go to Helen, but I'm not going to rebuy hammers from here because I already have hammers, right? But I'm going to keep a cassette tool. I'll probably keep both cassette tools. And so I'm going to figure out what I need here. I'm going to rebuy. So I'm going to buy a second set so that we can box this up, take this whole set to Helen, build a complete bike room with all the Park Tool stuff, and then keep what I need to keep here. And I'm going to organize it in some drawers. And of course, I'll come back and show you. Probably have some videos on the organization process. A lot of these drawers are already filled, so I don't think I can fit this whole collection here because everything is going to have a purpose in this garage. But I am going to keep probably 60-70% of it here. So I figure I've never really done this. I should probably introduce you to my bikes. We have a couple of e-bikes outside. So Ryan has a Sur-On. We have a Super 73. Then Kate, we bought that, Segway, I forget what the name of it is, but the little Segway scooter. This neighborhood has become the e-bike capital of the world. There's kids running around everywhere in them, so all my kids have bikes. But I technically I have three because the Yeti has been demoted. Let's talk about the Hightower first. So I don't ride this one here very much. This is my Helen bike. So when we go up to Helen, I take this with me. So this is a 150 millimeter travel. This is a Hightower, and this is the, I think, XX level. So it has the SRAM, SRAM axis. It has the SRAM. This has the best SRAM brakes, the Coda brakes on it. So the bigger brakes, bigger fork. Is this a RockShox or is this a Fox? I think it's a RockShox, but this one doesn't lock out, which I didn't realize. So on the lower end version, like S builds or X build of Santa Cruz Hightowers, you may get the carbon frame, but the forks actually lock out. So I can lock out the back, but I can't lock out the front. And so if I'm pedaling on the regular road, this bike is already too much travel for the trails around here, but it's rather uncomfortable because this bike is probably around 30 pounds, 31 pounds, something like that. It's quite a bit heavier. I did swap out. I did the RockShox. This has the SRAM or the Axis. It's not SRAM. This has the radio controlled dropper. I'm not a dropper guy. I mean, because I'm not jumping squat. I'm keeping my wheels on the ground. I mean, the extent of what I'm doing is a bunny hop something. But this one is the electronic dropper. And so there's no wire running to it. And so I think it's pretty sick. I think this was like $700 or something like that. My favorite seat is the Specialized Phenom. Seats are very personal. You got to try different seats. I forget which version of the S-Works seat I have on my gravel bike, but I'm going to swap it out for this. This is one level below the S-Works. So I figured on this heavier bike, I don't need to save like 2 grams on a fancy seat. So this is other than that, it's the stock configuration with the exception of these are Stamp 11s from Crank Brothers. Technically speaking, right now I'm about 225. You're not supposed to, these are pedals for under 200 pounds. I think if you're jumping, you might bend the thread or the arm of the pedal, but what the riding I'm doing was generally just spinning, and trying to keep my cadence up. I bought Stamp 11s and I've had them on two or three different bikes and I haven't broken them yet, so I think we're good. These have carbon frame, carbon reserve wheels from, are these DT Swiss? What is the brand? I think these are Santa Cruz. Or is the brand Reserve? They're called the Reserve 30. I forget which brand the wheels are. And then this has the really cool Industry 9 hub, the Hydra hub, with 365 little teeth, so you don't have any back drag. Kind of reminds me of the Koken stuff. But I think this hub is really cool and sounds cool. Obviously tubeless, and then this is all SRAM XX. So the highest level SRAM stuff for mountain biking. And then you have, if you're not familiar with bikes, many of you, so you have a battery right here, right? And so there's no cable running to my derailleur. And so I have battery, and then there's a little like CR2032 battery in here. And so it does all the connecting via, I guess it would probably be Bluetooth. It might be radio frequency. I'm not sure. Maybe someone in the comments can cue me into that. So the same tech is in the seat post. So I have another battery here. So the nice thing about this bike, if I forgot the battery, then I could always, or the battery went dead, I've got a second battery on board, which adds some weight. But again, this bike is more about, this would be for, sort of a hybrid trail downhill type bike. I mean, you could do the Mega Tower, or they have dedicated downhill bikes. When I'm in Helen, there's a little bit of downhill, and so this bike is a little nicer with a bit more travel, especially me being heavier, bigger. You little cycling guys, get bent out of shape about us having too much travel. But I just like the bike and I bought it. So I think the sticker on this was like 11, and then modifications, the seat, a couple $100, the RockShox, the Axis seat post, $700, and then the pedals I think are like $250 or something like that. And then this has my old Garmin. So somebody turned me onto this, thanks to the guy who suggested this. I'm kind of torn though. The Garmin mounts kind of hold the computer out here, which I snapped one of them off when I crashed one time, and so the K-Edge brings the computer here. The problem is that like I came up over the handlebars, like kind of rib checked myself, and the computer fell off, and I didn't know it. And then I found out, 10 miles away. The thing that sucks is these Garmins have GPS on board. For some reason, that it was this is the old version, the newest version, it's $700 computer. I have 3 of them. This one one on my Blur, and I had one on this. So this was on my Yeti. And so this was at home. The other one was at home, and the one that I lost on this Hightower wasn't connected for some reason. Even though I had initialized them and set them all up in my phone, they were all added, it just said couldn't be found. So I'm like, you kidding me? The other ones I could see exactly where they were on the GPS. So somebody has my computer, or it's sitting in the woods somewhere still to this day. So anyway, what am I gonna do? So this bike, I'm going to ride this tomorrow. The other thing I did, these are and I normally don't like to do this, I like to buy handlebars that are specific, but these are the Santa Cruz carbon bars. I cut them down to, I think they're 200 millimeter bars. I cut them down to like probably 150, maybe even 130. What I find is I'm very uncomfortable on the bike. Two things happen: elbows and feet. Yes, I've been laser fitted. I've gone to like Adam Baskin at the National Training Center in the past. I've gotten fitted. Shoot, I've done everything short of flying out to the UK and have Bike Fit James fit me. But I find that the fitting doesn't help. And so the things that help me is rear suspension, even though I probably should be riding a hardtail on the trails in Florida. That helps my taint, which transmits to my feet going numb. And then keeping the bars narrower, I find helps. Yeah, I lose a little bit of control on the bike, but I'm not whipping. I'm just keeping the bike on two wheels, and I might I'm a breaker before the turn kind of guy. And so I like the bars cut down to this length. And then these are my favorite grips from ODI. I forget which model these are, but I buy the same ones. You can see this pattern from ODI. And I think I put them on backwards, but this is why I like them. I think they're supposed to flip around the other way, but I don't know. For whatever reason, tactile-wise, it fits for me. And so we did a little bit of, I had Nathan, one of my employees and buddies, Nathan, kind of shorten these up a bit. I think we could probably even go a little bit shorter. But of course the brakes I forget, is SRAM mineral oil or is it hydraulic? I think they're hydraulic. So I think these are hydraulic, and luckily I have the hydraulic kit, a bleed kit. So that's my Hightower. Set this aside. Tuck it in there. Try not to hit the GT3. And then the newest bike. I'll talk about this one. So this is, since I'm now here in this little Pleasantville. So I bought an S-Works. Which helmet is this? Prevail 3. So S-Works Prevail 3 for riding around here. I just rode this like 25 or 26 in the wind yesterday, or 2 days ago. But my plan here is to get some miles in here locally, and I don't want a road bike. But this is my Specialized Crux S-Works edition. It's bone stock other than the Stamp 11 pedals. I've ridden, mountain bikes, ridden road bikes, clipped in. If I clip in, or if I use clipless pedals, my feet go numb in like 30 seconds. So I know it's deficient. I'm not riding with a group anymore, other than, out on the trails. I just like riding in flats and like regular, I have like some Nike, trail shoes that I ride. Even if I get like true, mountain biking shoes, like Pearl Izumis or something like that, where they have a hardened base and then a hard toe. Again, I'm not doing some crazy, rock downhill stuff, so I'm not worried about breaking my foot. Even on this, I rode, 22, 23 miles, probably. My watch said, I think I did like 16 and a half miles an hour by myself in the wind. So this bike moves, but this is technically called a gravel bike. And you can see, for those of you who aren't cyclist guys, you can see wider tire, slightly wider tire than a road bike would have. And then it has a little bit of a flat spot for rolling on the pavement. And so I'm using this to ride around the golf cart paths. There's no suspension on this bike. Carbon frame. This weighs around 15 and change, almost 6. It probably sits at 16 pounds. It better be tubeless, but I do need to check it. I bought this from the bike shop, and I forgot to dictate to make sure they made it tubeless. So if it's not, I'll pull the tubes out and do it. But this is all SRAM red, which I think is sick. Same thing, just a different shifting mechanism here. So your up and down shift is here. And then these handlebars, you know, I thought about putting mountain bike handlebars. What I'm probably gonna do, I feel a little too forward. This is the large, or this is a 58, sorry. So I guess it's technically like an XL, but it's a 58 centimeter. I think I'm gonna take my stem and shorten it a bit. I think a shorter stem with a slightly more aggressive angle would help me a bit. Again, I just feel too much weight on my elbows. And then, which seat is this? I forget, this is the stock seat that comes with it. Body geometry, I'm not sure what seat this is, but I don't like this. This curve doesn't fit me as well as the Phenom does, so I'm probably gonna get the S-Works Phenom for this bike. Well, this bike is sick. If I could translate how light this thing is, it's freaking awesome. I think this one was 12,000 bucks. And then put the pedals on it. Other than that, it's bone stock. All of my bikes are coated, and so they all have, so when I get them, I take all the stickers, debadge them completely, and then all of them have Crystal Serum Light, so they're all coated with G-Technic CSL, and then topped with a coat of EXO. This bike here actually has Crystal Serum Ultra, which you can't get. You got to have a professional certification for Ultra. And I do the wheels and all the grips and the seat and everything with the coating. It probably doesn't last very long on the seat, but it's super slick, makes it super easy to wash. And then I'm kind of excited that I now have all the Park Tool brushes and stuff, so I can keep everything nice and clean. You can see, my bikes are pretty clean, and I keep them maintained pretty well. So all 4 of them are clean. It's probably one of the reasons why I decided to make this video today, was because this is the first time they've all been clean. This one actually I rode. I didn't clean it after riding it, but if you're riding around the golf cart paths, it really doesn't matter. This is my favorite bike. So this is the bike I ride the most. I ride this. By the way, these are Steady Rack. You're supposed to mount the Steady Racks down low, but the way that I do it, so just to show you, I put it back on the rack. I come up here, I just grab this, like that, put it in position, lock the tire in, I set my pedal right here, find the spot in between the spokes, and then I can turn the bike all the way over to the left. So I can lean it that way. And so because I'm gonna have a fourth, I have a fourth one, so I got a couple more Steady Racks here. So I might do both of these because I was planning on buying a hardtail. I won't tell Michelle about that one. But that's how the Steady Racks work. I think they're like 80 bucks, 90 bucks a piece. And I just lift. You just have to get the tire out of the thing. Lift, bring it down. This bike only weighs like 22 pounds anyway. So this is my main workhorse. This is the Santa Cruz Blur, same Stamp 11 pedals. I like these Ritchie bars. And so I want to say these are 130s. So it's 130 millimeters wide. I prefer to buy a bar and not just cut the bar, because the bar is designed to have a certain amount of give and take. And so when you take a 200 millimeter bar and you cut 60 millimeters off of it, 70 millimeters off it, I feel like maybe the bar would be too stiff. I might be making that up. But anyway, these Ritchie bars, the problem is I don't think they make this bar in a 35. This is a 31.8 or whatever. And that's the 35 millimeters. So the diameter is fatter here. And so I'd actually bought these bars to put on that bike, and then it doesn't fit, doesn't work. And so this bike, I also modified the Envy stem. And so Envy stem, and then also Envy seat post. So I took the dropper off of this. And so this bike, you lose a pound when you take the dropper off. Again, I'm trail riding here in the village in Florida. We actually do have some legit trails in the villages, or in Ocala, and so there are some pretty legit trails on the border of mountain biking, but it's it's trail. It's sort of aggressive trail riding in some areas, but we have some decent places to ride. And then I took, and you guys saw me sort of back and forth on this. I took my really lightweight Wreck and Race, so the Maxxis Wreck and Race tires. It's so sandy here, and lots of leaves and crap, and so I just feel better on a grippy tire. And these are really aggressive for this area. But I took the Wreck and Races off, put these on, so I dropped a pound here, gained a pound there. And so, and those of you who are cyclist guys know that the weight on the bike matters. People are showing you could just lose 5 pounds. I said, yeah, but it's not the same. And so this bike, again, is pretty lightweight. It's what, 20, 22, 23 pounds, something like that. So I am tubeless. Same drivetrain, SRAM XX, same pedals as my Hightower, same shifter. This has the ultimate level brakes, so the brakes aren't as good as the Kodas on the Hightower. But this is my favorite bike. I got when I transitioned to this is a large, so I'm 6'2". So I'm kind of a tweener. I really should be riding an XL, but the length of the Hightower, that feels more like an XL. This feels like a true large. I'm telling you, I probably, like on our 20, we have a 12-mile out, which is where we usually mark our time. I probably dropped 5 minutes on the 12-mile time to go out to the land bridge on this bike versus my Yeti. So again, this is my favorite bike. I'll make sure I just adjusted. I feel like my handlebars are a little bit off. Something's off. Maybe it's my computer. That's why my computer was a little off. So this has the latest Garmin on it, and so I have all the bikes have the cadence sensor, the speed sensor, and then I'll wear like a heart rate monitor if I care, and then I'll usually ride with a Apple Watch as well, just for fun. Even though I don't really care about the data all that much, it's just fun to kind of look at what your heart rate's at when you're out running around. But this bike is pretty sick. So this has Reserve, these are the Reserve 28s. So not quite as robust, but a little bit lighter weight carbon wheel. Carbon frame, carbon wheel, carbon NV seat post, same Phenom seat. This one's sick. So I like this bike, and the Ritchie bars. Last bike is my old bike. So this is an XL from Yeti. This is a Yeti SB100, so 100 millimeter travel. This has become like Michelle's, or like the family bike. Get this out of here without killing the M3. This bike's probably about 25 pounds. Not ideal. Okay. So this, I think, is a 2000. This is probably a 2020 maybe. 2019. So this is carbon frame. It has, I have Expel, I forget what the company is that I bought this from, but this has all Expel PPF on it. Same NV post, same seat. This has the Yeti bars cut down to probably like 150. This has SRAM XO and then SRAM XX, but a couple of generations older. And then it has the Aggressor Minion DHF, tire combo. But this is a 100 millimeter travel bike that I rode. I probably have 1,000 miles on this bike. This has the cheaper pedals, the Stamp 7s on it. And so this was my first go. The seat's set up for Michelle. So Michelle rides this bike. So see, this is the computer mount from Garmin that I usually ride, but if you do go down, this tends to snap off. And you risk the chance of breaking the computer mount part on the bottom of the computer. Same, just older version of the same SRAM level brakes as the Blur, and I think it actually has the same shock. Somewhere around the same shock. And these are DT Swiss carbon wheels, and this is tubeless as well. So again, this bike is probably 25, 26 pounds. Actually, we could test this theory. Yeah, let's see what my bikes are. I'm gonna be sad when I do this. Let's see that they're, I probably need a battery, don't I? AAAs. I have some AAAs. Let's get our bike weights, that'll be cool, and then we'll wrap up this video. So I think what you would normally do, something isn't right here. There we go. So I think what you would normally do is hang it from your, that's not gonna be tall enough though. Tear it. I'll just hold it by hand and it should be fine. Man, it's gonna be 35 pounds. I'm gonna be so far off. I always told myself that this was a 25-pound bike, but I don't think so. £26 pounds, 8 ounces. Okay, so I'm not that far off. So 26.8. This is cool. See, this is why I bought all these tools. It's just fun. You guys getting all mad. You don't deserve it. You don't need it. Okay, if you say so. I think it's freaking cool. 17 pounds, 2 ounces. That stinks. That's heavy. I thought it was 16. 17. Let's see what this guy is. It's got to be lighter than my Yeti. 24. 24 and 1 ounce. What did I say? It's 23. 24 pounds. This guy's got to be 30. Yeah, 33. That's what I thought. Because I mean, I feel like a freaking, like I'm riding a tank when I ride this thing. That's cool. All right, so that's my biking setup, my bike tool setup. I'll keep you posted when we get into, I have the Park Tool stand. I've had different versions of the stand. This is the PRS 26. I like this one because it folds up. I did have like the big metal plate version as well. I've had that in the past. And there's some other bike maintenance stands that some of you have sent me. Actually, the guy who works on the SRAM Red team and developer of this, he sent me a stand. I need to look up what that was. I'm sure he'll watch the video and maybe he can put the link in the comments for us here. But yeah, I'm thinking I might do a Yeti Arc. I mean, that looks like the nicest hardtail that I can find. So Yeti Arc is something I'm interested in getting. And then again, I'd like to, once I get more acclimated with the tools, I'd like to do a frame up build. So anyway, those are my bikes. I guess I could sell all these bikes and buy another car. Jeez. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. See you soon.